As we go closer and closer to the big Xbox showcase event or whatever, a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions. Clearly, obviously, when it comes to what Microsoft's future is going to be like, and what's the plans going to be when it's all said and done. Like, are we going to get a handheld? Is it going to be any exclusives? Does Microsoft think that the games are going to kind of sell themselves? Is like Game Pass should be enough to keep people on the platform? Like, there's a lot of questions to be answered. Obviously I don't have all of the answers, but at the same time, there's going to be some, and I thought this was very interesting because we've heard this term before, and a lot of us maybe have questions, and there's rumors that we're going to hear more about this at the showcase or whatever. And you know what? I think that this is one of the things that honestly, hopefully Microsoft can answer sooner rather than later. So you guys might know what I'm talking about. But, Microsoft was always insistent that, Xbox UI was going to be on everything, or every screen was an Xbox. And a lot of people are like, what does that even mean? What does that mean for the future? What does that mean for the console? There's a lot of questions. And, I think that it's one of those things that a lot of people are going to kind of question or whatever, and say, hey, you know what, this is something that Microsoft could answer. But anyway, I wanted to get into this because I felt like this was an interesting topic. According to this, Xbox might be adding a consistent social UI to games on all platforms, and they even have a code name for it. So with more Xbox games hitting other platforms these days, in a ridiculous move that they should never have done, it comes as no surprise that Microsoft might be looking for ways to bring all these versions together. And one of the ways they could be doing it is with a consistent social UI. This was mentioned by Jez Gordon from Windows Central. He advised that it may take some form of like a mini Xbox guide that appears no matter what you're playing or where you're playing these Xbox titles at. He said, and I quote, I actually have some details on exactly what Xbox on every screen looks like. And I think what it is that every Xbox game will have a consistent social UI across all games. So like if you're playing Sea of Thieves, for example, on a PlayStation, you'll be able to bring up a mini Xbox guide or something like that, kind of like Activision Blizzard's BattleNet of sorts. They've even got the code name for it. I think it's Roseway. So, anyway, another way that Xbox is merging these different versions together is through crossplay, with Sea of Thieves supporting online multiplayer across Xbox, PC, and PlayStation 5, for example. In fact, Sea of Thieves requires you to use an Xbox account in order to play it, so a mini guide doesn't really seem that all of an unrealistic target for Microsoft. The question is, are people really going to want to mess with that stuff? It seems like it could get a little bit, I don't want to say bulky, but it seems like it could be a little bit of a pain in the ass for some people, to want to mess with a bunch of different things, or it slows down something, or, does something along those lines. Jez was also talking about we might hear more on, their future plans and things like that at their E3 / non-E3 as well. And, again, these are all things that I think a lot of us are kind of looking forward to seeing. I don't want to see Xbox fail. I want to see Xbox be successful. But at the same time, I want to see, Xbox be Xbox. And, there should be things that are only available on Xbox. And until they kind of get that through their head, I don't really know what else to kind of say on the subject, because I've been very adamant about it, like, and it sounds like I'm being a certain way or whatever, oh well, you're a dinosaur, I hear that one a lot. But the truth of the matter is, I buy consoles for console experiences, plug and play. I don't want to mess with sliders. I don't want to mess with different stores. I don't want to mess with any of that stuff. I just want to be able to play my games. And I think that Microsoft always thinks that they're doing the next big thing, but the problem is they're usually thinking, 15 years down the line instead of thinking 15 months down the line, right? And that honestly costs them so much that, it's hard to even kind of fathom at this point. All that thinking back years ago with the Xbox One, and putting their game staying date here, or doing this or doing that, all that stuff, that people were saying was going to be the future, it ended up not being the future. And and even the stuff that they did get right, like if you look at some of this stuff, like with Connect, I mean, that maybe could have been a thing. you know, they had just various different things that they could have really done to attract people. And at the end of the day, a lot of those things didn't work out, like the Cortana thing and Connect. But I mean, maybe those things would have worked out if they had waited a little bit longer, because like at the time, people didn't really want to, take a chance with a lot of that stuff. So, again, we'll see what happens. Microsoft, a lot of people think that they're not stupid or whatever, but I think that stupid might be the wrong word for it. I think ignorant might be a better word for it in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, I feel like Microsoft has a lot of different things that they could do better, and until they start doing things better, I think that they're going to continue to have a lot of issues and things. So, I like so many people, like this is what happens on social media and things. Well, I'll get into it. I don't want to say get into it, but there'll be like a slight disagreement, and a lot of this stuff is like revolving around Microsoft, and hey, well, here's this Steam thing or whatever that they might do. And I've yet to hear anybody tell me how that thing would be successful on Xbox. Like, nobody's been able to kind of let me know that so far, right? Like Microsoft earns 30% on third-party games on the Xbox store, 30% of third-party microtransactions. People pay to play online on Xbox. All that stuff goes out the window if you have a store like Steam on there, right? And then I think the closest thing to an answer people have is, well, Microsoft will get a cut. Like, they'd get a cut? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't, like, how does that help them get around not getting microtransactions? Or what on earth would Steam have to gain by giving Microsoft anything from their store, right? And and that doesn't cover any of the online stuff or anything. Like, that's how they subsidize their hardware. So obviously it's a thing that we're kind of looking at this, and I'm kind of shaking my head a bit. I'm like, there's not really a way for this to work out the way that that people are trying to make believe that it could work out. Like, and that's just the God's honest truth. We're seeing a lot of change. We're seeing a lot of things happen that Microsoft, honestly, do we trust them at this point? Like, I think that's a big question going forward. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm very curious to see how Microsoft handles all this stuff. Maybe you guys have a little bit of an idea yourselves of what to think about this, but let me know. Let me know if you think like an overlay is a good idea, a bad idea, or a clunky idea. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.